Alright, so we are now 3.5 weeks out from the WBFF Australian Pro-Am. And today I thought we'd have a little bit of a change of pace. Usually I'm in the gym training the house down, putting my body through its paces in preparation for show day. But there are many facets inherent in a competition prep that will lend itself to a peak performance once you hit the stage. And I often bring up the importance of recovery and specifically active recovery, but I very rarely show it. So today I'm going to show you or introduce you to my chiro and just talk about the importance of recovery. What we do in the gym is merely the catalyst for growth. It's what we do outside of the gym that lends itself to muscle growth, recovery, and repair. A lot of that comes down to obviously nutrition and sleep, and providing your body with ample time to recuperate between training sessions. But if you really want to enhance your recovery rate, you can really look to do active recovery methods like seeking out a professional in the field of chiro or a physio to help you just fast track that process. So today I'm going to introduce you to my chiro and we're just going to go through some of the fundamental things that I'm doing in terms of recovery to bring my best package to the stage. But first I need to climb up this hill, and this is half the battle, is just getting there.
I'm always aware of your current position. I just hold out to the perfect condition. Coming alive. Heat of the night. Now is the time. Don't try to hide, 'cause I'm gonna harm you like an animal. I know you thought it was over. I know you thought it was finished.
Alright, so this is the highlight of my week. Each and every week I get to see my chiropractic specialist, Nick. Now Nick and I went to school and I actually came to you at the beginning of this year after I was on holiday and my back was just all over the shop, especially traps and everything, and within one session we were capable of fixing my traps in preparation for the WBFF LA Pro-Am. But just with the general wear and tear of doing a competition prep, the accumulated volume, the increase in intensity, the frequency, my body is well and truly feeling the effects, and that's where having someone like Nick to come through and help me, especially fix my posture. Even right now, got my posture down here, I'm sure he's scrutinizing it. So we do weekly checkups. Yeah.
So what we do is we do sort of a weekly checkup on Robbie and see how he's moving. So we go through a basic range of motion screen, and then we go through some muscle testing and muscle length testing, and then from there I'll design my treatment process, and then we'll go through and sort of check at the end how he's improved and what we can do, especially with all your posing. In preparation.
One of the things is you know, with so much of the resistance training that I'm doing, all my muscles get extremely tight, my posture is compromised as a result, and it can actually not only hinder my performance in the gym, but it can also hinder my performance on stage when it comes to just getting the mobility and flexibility that I need to effectively present the best package on stage with my posing. If I'm extremely tight and certain joints being pulled here, there and everywhere, I'm unlikely to be able to showcase the fruits of my labor. So just getting this treatment each week has been a godsend.
Whoa. And then the other side, not so bad.
So, this is the highlight of my week, because this is the most relaxed I'm gonna feel. But then again, Nick also does bring the pain, and it can be excruciating at times.
So with the scraping, it's pretty cool. With Robbie, with his deltoids, as he's working on pretty hard, you can see that they've got quite a lot of sort of lactic acid and toxins in through them. So as we're rubbing over these muscles, you can see which ones are quite affected, and then you can see sort of mid delt and hand delt at the moment there. So yeah, you can see how Robbie's just in a little bit of discomfort.
Mild.
But it's not too bad. So lactic acid and all those goodies that accumulate after breaking down all the muscle in the gym that we've got to try and break down again so they slide in nicely.
Alright, so with 3.5 weeks to go, my energy levels are still hovering around 2, but I honestly feel as though I've adapted to the calorie intake, I've adapted to the training, my mindset is in the right place, so it's not as much of a burden as it was last week. Feeling pretty good regardless. And I think I've just been conscious and aware that this is the time that I need to dig deep, and it's okay. The end is in sight, so I'm feeling pretty good about it. In terms of strength, I'm probably hovering around a 2 to 3, but I don't think that it's as apparent to me, the significant drop in performance, just because I'm doing high volume work. If I was fixated on strength at this particular point in time, I'd probably be a little bit worried, but in the grand scheme of things at this point, 3.5 weeks out, it's more about that metabolite work, high volume, supersets, minimal rest, and very qualitative training. It's sort of going back to the roots of when I was like 19, 20, 21, and you're really seeking the pump. During the off season, you're looking at more of the quantitative. You're looking at volume accumulation and methodical progressive overload, and factoring in fatigue management and rate of perceived exertion. Here, it's now you're channeling your inner 20-year-old again, and it's all about the qualitative, reaching muscle failure and being content with that, and wanting that. So I'm actually really enjoying that aspect of training, because you really are just focusing on trying to grind out a result, and yeah, getting back to the roots. Much like adapting to a significant drop in calories and the subsequent energy levels, I feel as though like my hunger, probably a 3 out of 5. Last week it was like 2 out of 5. And I think just being strategic with the choices of food that I'm having, but just being in it now. I don't feel probably as hungry, just because this is the lay of the land and this is what's to be expected at this particular point in time. If you want to drop body fat to stage ready condition, you're going to have to grow accustomed to the notion that with a calorie restriction comes the inevitability that you won't be able to eat what you want to eat in the volume that you want to eat it in. So I think it's more a psychological thing at this particular point in time, and I think just because of the close proximity of the competition, I'm not feeling the hunger to the nth degree. I'm still implementing the strategies which I've put in place to manage it, like drinking water and selecting high volume foods, but it's not playing on my mind as much. And I think because I'm also busying myself with work, at one point or another, I remind myself, oh, you've got to eat again. Whereas I think for a considerable period of time there's like a 3-week period where I was like, geez, I can't. As soon as you finish a meal, you're thinking about your next one. So I think I'm trying to make it less of a priority in my head. And as a consequence, it becomes less of a fixation, how hungry I could perceivably be. So managing it quite well at the moment. Now, in terms of mood, I just think with the lack of calories, I'm a little bit more conservative in nature, but I've adapted to that as well. So subconsciously, I'm probably not as outward or forthcoming with my emotions as I usually would, but this is just the lay of the land at the moment. I think my attitude has shifted from dealing with what's uncomfortable and lamenting the fact, and now just growing comfortable with being uncomfortable, and gravitating towards that. I think I mentioned a number of weeks ago that I wanted to suffer at some point, one way or another, because that's sort of like when I first started dieting and training, I would draw the relationship between feeling irritable and with getting results. Now, that's not always a good thing, provided I don't project that onto other people, which I've mentioned before. But I think now I've just adapted to the notion that this is just the way it's going to be for the next couple of weeks. And to remain as positive and upbeat as I possibly can, because I get the opportunity to pursue my passion, and I really enjoy this process. And how you view the process, how you view the whole comp prep experience, that's heavily dependent on your perspective, and you're in complete control of that. So rather than getting bogged down with negative thoughts, I'm thinking I'm in it to win it. I always think about the next competition that I'm going to do when I've got an abundance of calories. Now I am 3.5 weeks out. Let's just enjoy the moment for what it is, and everything that comes with it, all the highs and the lows. So yeah, mood 3 out of 5. And last but not least, sleep. Now, last week my sleep was horrendous. it was rated about a 2 out of 5. Now it's bumped up to a 3 out of 5. I still find that because I'm fixated on work and the next thing that I need to do for my comp prep, whether it's the cardio session I need to do in the morning, the clients that I need to respond to, whether it's the next training session or the meal prep that I need to get done, I'm always thinking about the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And when your mind is racing, that can potentially lend itself to a disruptive night's sleep and potentially just elevated cortisol levels. But I've made a more conscious effort over the last week to switch off at the appropriate time at night and sort of like call it a day. You can really burn the candle at both ends if you're not careful, and sort of it's not a bad thing to prioritize something which will inevitably lead to a more productive day the next day. So I've made a more conscious effort to switch off screens, switch off phones, and either read a book or just have me time. Just, you know, sitting with a pen and paper, planning out the week ahead, but making sure that it's a pen and paper and not a phone. So sleep has bumped up to a 3 out of 5, and hopefully with the results progressively improving day to day, week to week, my cortisol levels will drop as I start seeing the final package come to fruition.
Well, that was well and truly worth it. I always walk into those appointments feeling tired, lethargic, run down and broken physically, and I always walk out feeling refreshed, revitalized and ready to take on the week ahead. I've got a lot more flexibility, mobility and just less tightness, especially through my thoracic. And what that'll end up doing is lend itself to an improved performance in the gym, as I'm able to take each exercise through a full range of motion without too many issues, because the last thing that I can afford to have at this particular point in time is an injury in the lead up to show days. So weekly checkups and active recovery methods of this nature are incredibly important for me at this particular point in time. However, I would strongly recommend, irrespective of what your training goal is, whether you're a physique athlete about to step on stage, or whether you're a performance athlete in any other endeavor, or you're just general pop and you are looking to get the best possible fitness results for yourself, active recovery and eliciting the help of someone like a chiropractor or a physio can be of great benefit to you. But make sure that you do these things consistently. Doing once off isn't good enough. Consistency is the key and will pay off in the long run. Until next time, guys, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.